James McCourt is here. She was actually a little bit more, I think, forthcoming and emotional than we typically see the Queen.
Yeah, that's right. I think we're finally starting to see a very human side of the royal family, which is quite unusual, especially from the Queen. As you say in her statement, there were lots of mentions of Harry, Meghan and my grandson Archie, rather than using their titles. And she used the words "my family" a lot. Very, very personal.
Very telling, don't you think?
Yeah, and it very much came from a grandmother. Which I really liked. I think it's good to see that human side of the royal family. And it makes us sort of step back and go, OK, they are kind of normal, you know, as much as we're all talking about protocol and what's going to happen now and how they'll be funded and who's going to pay for the security. You know, they're a family at the end of the day. So I thought it was really nice. And I also thought it was a smart move of Harry to make the speech last night. Again, I thought a really nice speech from the heart, said he was very sad that it had come to this, and tried to sort of say to people, well, please trust me when I say that I've chosen someone in Meghan that upholds my values as well, and that they're not stepping back, really, that they're always still going to be there, but it's just going to be on their terms. So he's sort of bypassed the media in a way, you know, rather than it be kind of gossip about, oh, this is what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. He's basically made a speech where he lays it all out. So quite a smart move, I think.
Well, let's talk about those terms. So what are the terms?
Right, so, well, they're losing their HRH titles. When I say losing, more so they're not going to use them anymore. So his and her Royal Highness will not be used anymore. So it'll just be Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Harry and Meghan, Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Why does that matter? Well, it just basically makes a statement that they're not going to be doing any royal duties for the Queen. They're not representing the Queen anymore. And they will not be given any public money to do that, because they're sort of on the payroll before. You know, it's public money from the sovereign grant. We pay into it.
And they're going to pay some money back.
Right, and they're going to pay some money back, which is, again, another smart move. So whoever's sort of advising them, I think that this has all been sort of carefully thought through. They're paying back money that came from the public to renovate their home, Frogmore Cottage, and it's around about $3 million. So, you know, it's not small change, but they're going to pay that back. And they're also obviously not going to have the sovereign grant anymore. And it looks like potentially Prince Charles may cover their future security bill as well, which could be anything
really
around $500 million a year. I mean, it's a lot of money. Yeah.
Now, you know, he's saying basically that he's charting his own course, and they're charting their own course, and he's doing this on his own terms. But in fact, the Queen is also doing things on her own terms, which is why they're not really going to be able to have their cake and eat it too at the same time.
Right, you're right, yeah. I think from the speech last night, and if you watch the whole thing in full, Harry basically says, I would like to continue to serve the Queen, the Commonwealth, and also his armed services connections, and but not take public money anymore. So in other words, yeah, like you say, have his cake and eat it. And the Queen has put her foot down there and sort of said, no, you can't do that. You can't have one foot in and one foot out. So you're going to have to step back from all of that. I think the fact that, you know, Harry was in the army for 10 years and loved his time there, I think that's probably one of the happiest times of his life, and he's having to step back from his roles, his military roles. I think that would be a real sort of point of sadness for him. And yeah, so, but, you know, I mean, they're doing it, and he says, please respect this, and almost saying, you can now see how difficult things had become for me to do this, for me to step back from all of this, everything I've ever known. That's how tough it had become with the media. So.
And then as far as their new ventures, I mean, there's talk of them starting their own production company, doing some voiceover work. I have to say I'm not surprised. Doing even documentaries with Netflix. I could see this happening and working out for them. Yeah,
there are rumours of a production company that they might set up. Netflix have already said we're interested in that if that happens. I think this is honestly the beginning of the story. It's what they do next, really, that counts. The Queen has said in 12 months' time she'll reassess their commercial dealings, as she calls it. So she will sort of look at the royal brand and say, well, that's cool that you do that, but maybe don't do that. And she's got to be very careful about how they use the royal name.
And I don't think they're stupid. So, you know, I mean, I think they know that the intense media scrutiny is not going to go away. But I think they also are hoping that perhaps now that they're not in the spotlight in the way that they typically were, that it'll be less vitriolic, and eventually people will just be, oh, yeah, those guys.
No, I completely disagree with you. I think now they're going to be more so in the spotlight.
Oh, no, they will be, but I don't think that they see the kind of vitriol that they've had.
I think they're seeing that a lot of that has come from the use of public money, actually, in the UK, and I think that has been the bone of contention, and I think with that gone, they're hoping that a lot of that will disappear. Whether it will, or whether some Brits will be like, oh, Meghan stole Harry away, you know, that's why he's not in the UK anymore. That might continue, I've no idea, but I also think maybe it's a bit short-sighted to think that they imagine that the press intrusion will disappear.
Yeah, it's not going to disappear.
Paparazzi are going to be after them everywhere.
And, you know, and frankly, they don't want it to disappear.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to become their business, isn't it?
Exactly.
So, like the royal Kardashians.
Exactly. And then real quick, there was rumors there was a feud between him and his brother, William.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
Well, apparently, over the last few days, they've tried to patch that up, and I think having to have these discussions, these sort of forced, very quick discussions about how they're going to move forward, it's forced the two brothers to come together, and it looks like there has been some patching up and some repair in the relationship there. So I would hope so. I think that's probably one of the saddest things if there's a sort of split between the two brothers when they've been so close since Diana's death.
Is it unfair for the media to characterize Meghan as being the villainess in all of this and sort of stealing Harry away from his family?
If you listen to his speech again last night, he makes it clear that he kind of feels the same way as she does, and it's as much his decision as hers. I think it's just natural to look for a villain, isn't it? But yeah. I personally do think we've got to have a villain in like a royal story. Any princess story has a villain, doesn't it? But I do think it's a little unfair on Meghan. There's never really been anything that we've ever seen from her that's made us think that she's
a villain,
anything other than lovely.
Yeah. but you're right. It's a story, right? It's a storybook story. You've got the villain, you've got the good guy, the bad guy. And
I suppose the fact she's not very close to her own family, and now, you know, Harry is being, if you want to put it this way, pulled away from his family. You might kind of say, well, that looks like it could be her.
And let's face it, her family's not helping.
Right, exactly.
That's a whole other...
that's another conversation.
You have to come back for that because there's no time for that. James, thank you so much.
Thank you. Great
really
to see you again.
Good to see you. You can check out more royal drama news with James. He has a website called theroyal-t.com. That's T as in TEA.
That's right.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.